Pretty much just want to go over my pre-market plan going into the week and going into Monday. So as always, let's keep this quick, clean, and easy. So pretty much the weekly breakdown here is overall, we are still stuck in this range, right? On the SPY and on the Qs. This overall market is still stuck in a range. So as you can see here, this 659.10 has what's been holding SPY up. And we need to get over, this 667.35 so we can see some more upside continuation. But the market's been stuck in a range, right? This entire past week, right? So like I've been saying, right, we're starting to see the effects of this government shutdown. No red folder news to help give us a boost to the upside or to the downside. Sorry about that. So, um, right, we are still in play to the upside, right? Targeting really this all-time high. We are not that far away. I'll go to a naked chart just to get a better visual, right? Let's zoom out here on the 1 hour. As you can see, right, this entire week we have been stuck in between 659.10 and 667.35, right? This market is in a range, right? This is SPY for the past week, right? So we're just looking for a continuation to either side, right? We still are bullish on the higher time frame, but if we do fall under 659.10, we can see some more downside continuation, right? But I'm very confident that we'll get over this, right? The 667.35 targeting, right? This all-time high, right? We are not that far away. This thing is still intact to the upside, right? Same thing here on the Qs, right? Beautiful. If you watched a live trading session, pretty much from every day this week, but mainly Friday, you will see we had that strong sell-off to the downside in the market open, and buyers just step up very aggressively at this 595.85, right? That's why I say, trade off your key levels, respect them, trust them, and you will make a lot of money, right? So we're really just looking for continuation to the upside. This thing, right, just like the Qs, just like the SPY, has been stuck in a range, right? Let's go to a naked chart, better visual. As you can see, we've been stuck in between 595 and 607, right? But both key levels being respected very well. So what are we looking for on Monday, right? We're looking for this. A break and retest over 607.15, really targeting all-time highs, right? We're not looking to short this market or a pullback long at this 595.85, right? So that's all we're looking for, right? Like I've been saying, you can trade the SPY and the Qs. They've been very well, honestly, for scalps and for intraday setups. But until we get out of this range on the overall market, we'll start to see some continuation. Tesla. So we're pretty much hands off this name after Monday, right? Monday is like pretty much our only shot. The reason I say that is because Tesla does have earnings this week. You can see down here we have earnings on Wednesday after market, right? So obviously we're not going to touch this name on a Tuesday because the IV is going to be through the roof. Obviously we're not going to touch it on earnings day, and then coming into Thursday we're going to wait, at least for the first 30 minutes or so for market open to let that IV cool off. But I'll break that down later into the week, right? But like I said, we're pretty much hands off this name until we get a break over 445, right? I'm hoping we get that on Monday. You can clearly see why this is our no trade zone, right? We avoid channels, right? We've been avoiding that for the past 2 weeks, and we have not been forcing trades on this name due to it being stuck in a channel, right? So I really recommend going to watch, this past Friday's live trading session, because you see we had a very nice upside day on Tesla, and as soon as we broke over 436.30, sellers stepped in very aggressively. You can see these wicks here. So we've been avoiding this channel, right? So coming into Monday, right, our only play that we're looking for is this break and retest over 445, right? We've been looking for this for the longest. We are bullish bias on this name as long as we are above 410, right? So if we don't get that on Monday, we are hands off this name. We do have earnings this week, so yeah, until Thursday, we're pretty much hands off this name. So hopefully we get to set up on Monday. If not, we're hands off until Thursday. AMD, right? Beautiful. Last Friday, the game plan was a pullback long off this 227, and that's exactly what happened. We ended up getting that pullback long off this 227.30, right? You can clearly see, right, pullback, a buyer stepped in, right? That was a beautiful trade if you were able to catch that, or even play next week comms, right? Trust these levels, right? Pullback longs off these key levels. That's how you get paid. So this was a really good analysis. My level just didn't go off. I ended up taking a trade on Apple, but it's the same game plan going into Monday, right? We are looking for a pullback long off this 227.30, right? Ideally, right, we are looking for this break and retest over 240.10, right? Looking for more upside continuation. But like I always say, right, this is the better RR trade, right? Because when we get over this level and it makes new all-time highs, there's no other key levels for price to gravitate towards, right? So what's the better trade, right? A pullback long down here targeting all-time highs. So we did ended up getting this on a Friday. So if you're able to catch that, that was a really good shot. So still same game plan going into Monday, right? Pullback long off 227.30, break and retest over 240.10. Like I've been saying, we are not bearish bias on this name, right? I am not short bias on this name until we fall under this 203, right? And we've been seeing this move to the upside, made new all-time highs this week. I believe on Wednesday it did. On Thursday, I'm sorry, it did. So we are not bearish on this name. We're not looking to short this name. If we fall under 227.30, you can look for that for a scalp. But remember, the trend is your friend, right? So and as long as we're above 203 for now, I'm bullish bias on this name. NVIDIA. So a solid day on Friday, right? A solid day. All last week, right? We have not touched this name. There's nothing been going on this name, right? There's been nothing on this name, right? It's been stuck in a channel. We have broken that down, right? Time after time. So what are we looking for, right? A break and retest over 184.50, right? As soon as we can get that, if we get that, NVIDIA is back in play, right? The price action will be clean. We're breaking out of a channel, and now we will be bullish bias on the higher time frame, right? I've been saying all last week, as long as we are under 184.50, we are bearish bias on this name, right? Before it happened, I said if we break under this 184.50, right, that is a lower low on the higher time frame, and you can clearly see that is what happened, right? So if we can reclaim this weekly level, and you can clearly see on the daily here, right, this has been, right, a very key level, right? Support, turn into resistance. So if we can get back over this, we are back in play. So I'm hoping we can get that, right? Obviously, stuck in a channel. So on Monday, this is really our main play we're looking for, or a short under 179.45, right? The only reason, right, because I'm going to ask this question, we are not looking for a pullback long off this 179.45, is because as long as we are under 184.50, this name is no longer bullish on the higher time frame, right? You look for pullback longs when the trend is your friend, right? So we are bearish bias for now, as long as we are under this 184.50, right? So this is our no trade zone. We can clearly see more downside if we fall under this 179.45, right? So these are our two key levels still, just like it was all last week coming into Monday, right? Break and retest over 184.50 or a short under 179.45. Apple, I mean, beautiful. Very unfortunate. It gave us this on a Friday. But I've been saying, right, this name is not ready to be shorted. And you can see, after that big continuation play on Friday, we are now back intact to the upside. It's beautiful to see our key level get respected on the dot. So what are we looking for on Monday, right? I'm looking for the break and retest over 253, right? Targeting all-time highs, right? This is beautiful. I will be potentially looking for a swing trade on this name. I'm very bullish biased, right? Our thesis has been correct and proven correct all of this week, this past week, right? And I said we are not short this name as long as we are over this 241.30, right? Let's go here on the weekly. What I do like to see here is after that close on Friday, we recovered 50%, right? After that sell-off, right? We recovered very well, right? That's a 50% recover. What I also like about this candle is it's a hammer stick. What does that show? Buyers stepped up very aggressively defending this name, right? That's what I love to see. So coming into next week, right? We are not bearish bias on this name. We are looking for a break and retest over 253, right? Targeting the top of this range, right? And obviously if we can get a break and retest over this 258.20, we can clearly see all-time highs, right? So very happy with the recovery here on Apple, right? Let's zoom out here a little bit. As you can see, all last week, we did not have good price action, but that was across the board. And we're stuck in this channel, right? So this, right, this is what we're looking for. This is a valid shot. If we can get this break and retest over 253, we are clearly back in play here on Apple to the upside. Still a little bit of thin volume here. So if we can get this break and fill this thin volume, right, I really like the continuation here, right? We still got this thin volume to fill, but you can clearly see, right, we are in play to the upside. Our weekly level, this 247.30, did its job. It held, it defended, and we got that continuation Friday, right? Palantir, really nothing to break down here. Right, like I've been saying, not touching this name until we break over 188, and I'm short bias on this name and looking to short this name if we can fall under 169. So clearly, right, let's just zoom out here. There's nothing here. Very nasty. It's just been literally just consolidating. It's been a chop, but we will wait and wait for our trade to come to us like we've been doing. Google looks really good, to be honest, right, for some more upside play. Like I've been saying, if you watched the pre-market video going into Friday last week, right, we are not looking to short this name, right? We're looking for a pullback long off this 247.15. We ended up getting that during the pre-market and after hours, and then, right, a break and retest over this 251.50, right? It's kind of hard to do that on a Friday with 0 GTEs, right? But nevertheless, literally the same game plan coming into Monday, right? We're looking for a pullback long, right, off this 251.50, right, a break and retest, right, off this 256.70, looking for more continuation to the upside, or, right, a pullback long off this 247.15. Remember, the trend is your friend. We are not looking to short this name. We are bullish bias on this name until we fall under 241.65, right? Because clearly, right, that would be a lower low on the higher time frame. We can look to short that name. Other than that, we are looking for pullback long. So Google's in play. I do like Google, right? The spreads are nice. The contracts cost a decent amount, a reasonable price, I should say. So I do like Google, right? See, we ended up getting this break, retest. You could have entered here if you wanted to, right? Risking right under this, or, right, more displacement, got that pullback. You can see buyer stepped in, and you would just be risking under this 251.50. Like I said, I know it's hard to take that on a Friday with a 0 DTE, right? But coming into next week, we're just looking for pullback longs on Google.